but we could be alone. Between city lights, we don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What's up, you guys? Welcome to the live stream. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad to be here with you on a Monday evening. Thank you so much for understanding. I took the day off yesterday for Father's Day. I spent a little time with my family and just generally had a lovely Sunday afternoon. You just caught me leveling up some of my champions. Yeah, on Raid Shadow Legends. Yep, it's moving. This is not that video. Don't freak out. This is a normal stream. You'll know when it's the sponsored stream. It will not be during my normal time slot. But we did sign a contract, and then they were like, "Well, make sure you're not level 1 when you do the sponsored Raid Shadow Legends video." So they said, take a few days and level up your characters. So every day I log in, and it almost feels like a job. But it's coming. It's coming. In case you didn't hear, I got offered $1,000 to do an hour-long Raid Shadow Legends stream. And I was like, I don't know how you say no to that. I'm sorry. I know that's not the kind of content. It's going to be at like 11 p.m. on a Tuesday night. You know, not during one of my normal times. I will not sacrifice my normal content. But I don't know how you say no to that. So if you missed that, I will be doing a sponsored hour-long Raid Shadow Legends stream at some point in the future. At some point in the future. You know, the beautiful thing about this game is that if you don't want to, you don't have to play it. You just push the auto button, and then it plays itself. And then I don't understand. I don't understand what's happened to games. Because, like, it used to be that if you bought a game, you wanted to play it. But it seems like now, if you buy a game, what you want is to upgrade to like level up your characters and expand, you know, all of the things that you used to do, but you don't want to interact with any of the game mechanics. The game mechanics themselves are, oh, look, you upgraded your character, and you know, you need to give us some money so you can keep playing. I was like, okay, you know, what people want from games changes, and we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out what's what. Anyway, yeah. But I'm gonna play it for an hour. I mean, I get it. Like, I understand that there are times in a game when you grind. When you grind, you're like, I need to, you know, get another 5,000 XP for this level up. And you just go and you freaking kill mole rats or whatever. And you just grind. I get that. And it might be nice. But the thing is, if you can just push a button, you have to go kill the mole rats. If you can just push a button and then come back a half hour later and the computer, why not just push a button and give me the XP? It really shows that what is actually the unit of everything is time. Time and attention. So you give me a game, and I give the game my time and attention, and I play the game, and I enjoy playing the game. I get dopamine and serotonin and maybe a little oxytocin, maybe some norepinephrine, perhaps, if it's an exciting game. I get an enjoyable experience out of playing the game in exchange for my time and attention. But this new style of game, and this isn't the only one. There are many like it. What they seem to be doing is if you want to play the game, you don't have to give the game your attention. You just have to come back every now and then and give it time. But mostly what they want is for you to give them money in exchange for time so that you can play the game. I don't know. It's different. It's a different paradigm. It's a different paradigm. It almost feels like here's the thing. I'm going to sum this up. By the way, welcome to the live stream. We talk about a lot of things here. I usually open the stream with whatever's on my mind, and then we get to FPV. That's about to happen. Here's the thing. Back in my day, playing the game was what gave you the dopamine that made you want to keep playing the game. But now, it seems like paying to unlock a chest or earn a new character, or that transaction has been sort of boiled down into you buy a pack and you unlock the character. And then I'm not sure why that gives you dopamine. I mean, I guess it kind of does, but I mean, I'm not sure about that. It doesn't feel like you just spent some money. I mean, there are lots of things, I guess, that you spend money on and you get dopamine. It doesn't feel like as rewarding as I played the game and got good at the game and earned it. It's just like I swiped my credit card and then I don't know. Maybe it's just not. Maybe it's just a different kind of dopamine. You know. Anyway. I am used to games where the game itself is what gives you the dopamine. And it's almost, these games are more structured around give us money and we'll give you dopamine. I'm probably screwing up my sponsorship right now. I'll have to get all that shit in line, not go off on these tangents when I do the sponsored live stream. Welcome to the live stream, everybody. This is what's going on. What is this? I'm sorry. This is a kid. Oh, I see. This is a kid-friendly stream. Oh, maybe it's PG-13. Oh man. People like posting GIFs over in my Discord server. Welcome to the live stream, everybody. Thank you, Kmart FPV, for asking. I do feel okay. I guess I might be a little stuffy. I was doing some yard work earlier. I'm sure that's it. I don't know. Welcome to the stream. I'll be taking your questions here in the YouTube chat. I'll be reading the comments here from my Discord server. These are my patrons over here on my Discord server. These lovely people support me, and they get to hang out on the right side of my screen during live streams as a thank you. Oh, I like this guy. What's his name? Is his name James? He does a lot of content on YouTube about coffee. What's his name? It's James something. I like him a lot. He makes good content. I'm always out good, like, scientific content. The kind I used to make before I sold out to Raid Shadow Legends. It became a gaming channel. Oh, James Hoffman. There we go. That's him. He makes good. He really does make good content. I actually find him inspiring as I mean, I like coffee, and I like people. I don't know why I like people talking about coffee, but I do. But also, I just find his content very inspiring in terms of how he presents information. It's really good. It's really good. One last thing before we get into the questions. If you want to make sure I read your comment, the only way to be 99% sure I read, sometimes I miss them. The only way to be as sure as possible that I read your comment is to hit the $ right here and leave a super chat. And if you want to do that, you just leave a super chat, type your comment, and I will read it a little later in the stream. But I always like to start off by taking some questions in the regular chat. The regular chat. Let's see here. Mario Guzman asks, updating my ESCs made my battery life go down. Is that normal? Mario, there are various ESC settings that can affect your battery life. If you updated your ESCs and you didn't change any of the settings, I would think that it would stay normal, but who knows? The main thing that could change battery life would be the PWM frequency, and that is especially true if these are very, very small motors like 8mm motors around 20,000, 25,000 kV. If you're talking about a 5-inch, it's I'm suspicious that your current draw is the same and your battery life is the same, but something else has changed. So that's what I would say to that. Divyansh Jain asks, should I build an Apex HD as my first quad? I know it's expensive. My thinking is it's more sturdy, so it won't break as often. Divyansh, let's get this out of the way. The Apex is a very good frame. It's a very durable frame. I think that there's a tendency to spend too much money on your first quad for some people, for people with money. And the thing you got to keep in mind is there's a fair chance that your first quad is going to end up in a tree on pack number 4 and never be seen again. There's some chance that your first quad is going to crash in the bush somewhere and you'll never see it again. There's some chance that it'll fly to the moon and you'll never see it again, or end up in a lake. So I think that your first quad should almost always be inexpensive. And the thing is that expensive quads in some ways are more durable than cheap quads. And the frame especially is one of those ways that they tend to be more durable. Because a cheap frame is going to cut corners and it's going to break easier. Not all expensive frames are more durable, but most of the best frames that are more expensive are also more durable. The reason I make that distinction is that there are some expensive parts that pretty much no matter what you do, they have a tendency to break. So what I would say is that you should probably start with something that if you lost it on pack number 5, it wouldn't break your heart. And only after you get a little bit of experience flying real quads in the real world and learning about, oh, this is the sign that I'm about to failsafe. This is the sign that I'm about to lose my video, etc. Then you think about maybe spending a little money on a good one. But your first one should be pretty inexpensive for those reasons, in my opinion. In my opinion. The other thing, Cheech FPV has a really great point. Cheech FPV has a great point. The more expensive your quad, the less like you're going to fly it hard and actually get good at flying. I will stand by this statement 100%. The more scared you are of crashing and breaking something, the slower you will progress as a pilot and the worse you will fly in the moment. Now, if you crash and break something, then you can't fly anymore. So, obviously there's a balance there between just going absolutely balls to the wall, breaking everything, and then having nothing to fly for the rest of the day, and then you miss out, and being kind of over-conservative and not doing anything risky and never getting any good. But if you have one quad that you spent all of your money on and no spares, you're not going to have a good time. And if you have one, little 3-inch basher that didn't cost you very much and you're pretty sure it won't break and you have another one in your pocket, then you're going to have a better time. I got to tell you guys, I remind myself of this so often, because here's what'll happen. If you look on the wall back there, well, you can't really see, but some of those quads are, oh, my favorite babies. Oh, they're my perfect freestyle build. And I finish them and everything is working and all the motors are smooth and it flies good. And then I'm like, and then I get some analog quad that to review, and I finish the review. And after I finish the review, I'm like, well, let's just send it. Let's just send it. I don't care. Or maybe during the review, I'm like, let's see if we can break this thing. And those are my best freestyle flights. Are the ones, and then I'm like, why don't I fly my own quads like this? And then I try and remind myself, yes, I have to fly my own quads like this. I have to not be afraid of breaking things and not be so, I don't know, there's just this moment where your quad is perfect and you don't want to break it. And it's like, just break it. Just go break it. You cannot live in that moment. If every single one of your quads is perfect, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Unless it's like the very first day of the shoot and you fixed all your quads the night before. But, also, if you break all your shit and can't afford to buy more shit, then you're done. So there's a balance. There's a balance there. Yep. Good point. Let's see if I can answer some questions from the Discord. Those were questions from the YouTube chat. Let's see here. Gadget RC wants to know, I want to drill out the M2 screw holes in my frame to make room for M3 screws. Any advice? Yeah, that's no big deal. That's not a big deal. People are like, carbon fiber, give you cancer, whatever. They're probably right. So, you can do that with a standard drill bit. It's not going to be very as clean as if you did it with like a high-speed bit, like on a Dremel. It's going to kind of gouge out the carbon. It's going to look kind of crappy, but it'll be fine. If you care about your health the most, you should wear a mask because you'll generate some dust. You should wear gloves because carbon fiber will get in your skin and it doesn't feel good. And you could even do it underwater if you want to keep the dust down. Carbon Cage has a great idea. Use Vaseline. Put a little Vaseline on the carbon and that'll help keep the dust and so forth. Mike Bergman says a diamond-coated 1/8 inch drill bit makes a great clean 3mm hole. Diamond bit, I never thought of that. I always just use standard bits. It makes a really shitty looking, messy cut, but it does get the job done and get you in the air. So, Gadget RC, that's the advice. Synapse wants to know. Synapse wants to know, do you recommend getting the arm guards to go with your kit? What size screws go in the motors so I can get some longer ones to fit the guards? Synapse, I usually don't run arm guards. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't. I usually don't run arm guards because if you add up the weight, they'll often add like 15 or 20 grams. It depends on the design. I don't know the weight of my arm guards for because I don't run them. Arm guards will significantly extend the life of your arms in a lot of cases. A lot of times, I'll end up with a quad where the arm is so gouged up at the end that it's basically needs to be replaced, but the arm itself hasn't broken. And I'm like, well, shit, if I was running arm guards, I would have been fine now. So if you want to have arm guards, you can. I don't know what length of screw to get because I don't run them, and I don't know that off the top of my head. Probably you're going to add 1 millimeter, maybe 2. The other thing about arm guards is since they're TPU, they're flexible, so you definitely are going to want to use some blue Loctite on the screws because the TPU itself may not have enough sort of tension to, I don't know. Yeah, that's the other thing I don't like about arm guards. If you print them in a hard plastic, that's a different story, but most people don't. Okay. Bannister Post. You're going about this the wrong way, man. Bannister Post has been following my Pin.io video. What you want to do, what you're trying to do, Bannister Post, is have the pin output to arm a second flight controller and start recording at the same time for gyro data. That's extremely clever, and maybe you could get it to work. But here's how Mark Spatz did it. So credit where credit's due. That's where I learned this trick. When Mark Spatz put 2 flight controllers on the same quad to compare the gyro and measure gyro data, all he did is he split the wire, the signal wire coming out of the receiver. So let's say you're using Crossfire or Express LRS. There's a TX pad on the receiver, right? You solder 2 wires to that TX pad, and both of them go to the 2 flight controllers on the RX pad. Now, one of those flight controllers is actually flying the quad, and the other flight controller is just sitting there and is real effing confused. Okay? But both of them will receive the receiver signal. Now, don't hook up the TX wire because that'll be telemetry, and you don't want 2 telemetries coming back. You want the signal from the receiver going to the 2 flight controllers, but only the one that's actually flying is coming back with telemetry. Both of them will receive the signal. Both of them will arm at the same time. One of them will control the motors and fly the quad, and the other one will be like, what the hell? Will it activate runaway? No, because the throttle will raise. You might want to disable runaway protection on the recording one, because in theory the PID error is going to be through the roof. Or maybe it won't. I mean, after all, they're both moving roughly the same. I don't know. I would probably disable runaway because the PID error is probably going to be all over the place on the one that isn't recording. But the bottom line is that's how I think you should do that. All right. Mookie FPV, long time no see, man. Long time no see. Mookie's a local guy. Good to see you here, man. Let's take some super chats. We got a couple super chats coming in. Anthony DeStefano, thank you for a $10 super chat. I have the DJI goggles V1 and V2. How do I get audience mode working? Okay, so you do need to be at 25 megabit mode. It says audience mode is not selectable. You need to be... Are you on the F... So there's a couple questions here, Anthony DeStefano. Are you in the FPV drone mode? That works completely different. We're going to assume that you are... Excuse me. You are in the DJI DIY Air Unit Vista mode. The only thing I can think of that makes audience mode not work is if the goggles are set to 50 megabit per second mode. My goodness, I'm going to get the hiccups in the middle of a stream. I don't know what to say about this, folks. That's what I think. It must be so you have to, and the other thing is you can't change the goggles from 50 to 25. Except when they're connected to an Air Unit or a Vista. So what you got to do is, on the goggle that you're trying to put into audience mode, power up a Vista or Air Unit that it's bound to, then switch to 25 megabit per second mode, then you hopefully can access audience mode. Yeah, it's really dumb that they don't let you switch from 50 to 25 except when you're connected to a VTX. Because if you just have a random set of goggles, then you're gonna you can't switch them. Mookie wants to know if I'm going to the global qualifier next month on the 16th. I think I'm gonna be out of town that day. I think on the 16th of July, yes, I am going to be in Portland for a Rotor Riot shoot. Unfortunately. Okay. What's the weight of the QAV-S fully built? Asks Synapse. I can answer that question for you, Synapse, because somewhere... Hey, where are you? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, here it is. So this is without a camera and without... a battery, obviously, but with props. 397 is what I've got. 397. That is the DJI version. The analog version is going to be a little bit lighter. And that is with a DJI Action 2 3D printed case. So 397. Yeah. Pacific Northwest, I think we are visiting PDX, visiting James. I think we are. That's what I understand the plan to be. So that's going to be fun. Shields Up FPV, thank you for a $20 super chat. I don't have a question, just want to thank you for all the help over the years. Thank you so much, Shields Up. Appreciate the support. Cheech FPV, thank you for a $2 super chat. Have you tried the RC Hackers 1300 6S LiPo? No, I haven't. 1300 6S is usually heavier than I would really like it to be. $35 for 2 of them is a pretty darn good price. I mean, a suspiciously good price, to be honest with you. That's a suspiciously good price. Advanced stacking capacity. Let's see here. What's the weight? 192 grams for a 1300 is impressive. That's pretty good if it's a legit 1300. Built-in protection mechanism. What does that mean? What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. So, 2 1300 6S for $35 is a damn good price. It's suspiciously good, and I'm not sure. I almost would like hesitate to buy it because of how inexpensive it is. But $35 for 2, it might be worth a try. Like maybe the C rate is not as advertised or something. I don't know. There you go. Thin wire fuse. What does that mean? Thin wire fuse? Yeah. All right. We are caught up on the super chats. Is it worth waiting? Asks Z Ace of Spades. Is it worth waiting for the Mobula 6 2.4 Express LRS, or is the 900 megahertz good enough to get my receiver in? Ace of Spades, I wouldn't buy a whoop that I had to add a receiver to if I was running Express LRS. I mean, I understand you don't want to wait, but don't buy the 900 megahertz one with the intention of adding a receiver. Just get a 2.4 gigahertz one. I don't know when it's going to be available, but why would you? I wouldn't want to do that. That doesn't seem right. Yeah, that doesn't seem right. Definitely not. If you already have 900 megahertz, like I would buy the 900 megahertz Express LRS version and buy a 900 megahertz Express LRS module before I would put a spare receiver in a tiny whoop. That's my take. Yeah. Siati, good to see you. Good to see you there, Siati. I have a little bit of an update. I'll leak this right now. I'll leak this a little bit. So I have a little bit of an update about Flow State, the film. I am happy to tell you that we are in the process of making Blu-rays right now. We need to get a master from the company who's making the Blu-rays and then approve the master and then go into production. And just today, James submitted the film to a company who specializes in distributing independent films to streaming platforms. So the gist of it is this company has connections and they take care of getting you on streaming platforms, and they take a cut. So I can tell you the good thing about the I'm sure some of you guys out there are like, yay, Blu-ray, and some of you guys are like, Blu-ray. The good thing about the Blu-ray is we completely control the distribution. Basically, you just like swipe your credit card and then 1,000 Blu-rays come in the mail and then you sell them. And it means that we can get them out on our own timeline. We don't have to wait for someone to approve them or quality check them. We will do the quality checks. The Blu-ray is also going to have the full 3-hour cut of the film, if you want to watch it. We originally recorded it as, we thought that it might be 3 separate, like 40-minute episodes on a mini documentary, but we're going to edit it down to about an hour. I say we. James is doing all that. It's the royal we. We're going to edit it down to about an hour and a half for the streaming platform because we think that a general audience probably doesn't have that much appetite, that much attention for it. But the Blu-ray will have all the content for the true hardcore people, and of course it'll be full 4K beautiful resolution. So I'm not gonna give you a time frame for that because I don't want to get your hopes up and then miss a deadline, even an implied deadline. But I can tell you that we're going to be doing that as quickly as we can. And it's not that very long from now before I'll be able to tell you more about how you can buy it. As far as the streaming platforms go, that's a little bit more out of our hands. The way it works is that we submit the film, and of course, you don't just submit the film. You have to give them like thumbnail images, poster images, freaking subtitle tracks, etc. You submit the film, they do their own quality check, and then after you pass their quality check, they submit it to the streaming platforms like Amazon Prime, Apple TV, and many others. And then they have their own approval process that takes time. So that's a little more out of our hands, but that's where we're at with the film. I'm happy to tell you that it's coming soon. It's coming soon. It actually is coming soon for once. Yeah. So that's a little update there. If you don't have a Blu-ray player, I'm not sure what to tell you. I also don't have a Blu-ray player. Is the PlayStation still a Blu-ray player? Anyway, I was talking to James about this, and I was like, the good news is that a lot of our audience are old people. and they remember what physical media is like. Because if all of our audience was Bubby's age, none of them would buy a Blu-ray. They'd be like, what is that? Can you still buy a Blu-ray player? I mean, I don't have a Blu-ray player. I want to be able to watch my own film. Surely you can still buy a Blu-ray player. Yeah, of course you can. They have Blu-ray everywhere. $50 for a Blu-ray player. Well, I might have to buy a Blu-ray player. Oops. Okay, anyway, streaming coming, Blu-ray coming sooner. There you go. I gotta tell you guys, way back when I used to get discs from Netflix, this was way back when. Does Netflix even still do discs anymore? I would guess that they don't. Way back when I used to get discs from Netflix, I would get Blu-rays from them and be shocked at how much better the Blu-ray looked than streaming in HD. They look amazing. Streaming in HD, the bitrate just isn't there. Anyway. Alrighty, so that's a little update there about the film. I'm happy to be able to. I just had a phone call with James today. So let's see here. Squirrely, thank you for a $2 super chat. Any info on the DJI V3 goggles and drone or the news tomorrow? I don't think so. I don't know what I haven't seen the outline for the news tomorrow from Blunty, but I haven't seen any info about that. We don't have any info about that as far as I know. Apparently Netflix still rents DVDs. Wow. Delivered movies in your mail. Wow. They still do it. Now, the thing about Netflix DVD was they just bought the DVDs and shipped them. So do they have a wider availability of DVDs than they do streaming stuff? Because streaming stuff they can't get the rights to, but DVDs you just buy a gosh darn DVD and send it. Interesting. Not that I watch DVDs anymore anyway. Anyway. Okay, let's continue with the questions. Synapse says, I just got the chance to fly my completed build of your kit today. I had an absolute blast. Thank you so much for the help along the way. Thank you so much for building it. Synapse is talking about my build kit at GetFPV. If you're looking for a kit to build, this is a great choice. It comes with a full tutorial from me and everything you need to build a drone. And frankly, in this day and age, the ability to get all the parts you need and have them be in stock at one time, that alone makes this look, it's in stock. You can build a drone. Buy two so you have spare parts, because they'll be out of stock for 6 months. And the next time you look, I'm saving money. Okay, worst promotion ever. This is a pretty good kit, though. I'm kind of joking, but I'm kind of not. And it's fun to fly, and you can build it with help from me. You can build this. Yeah. Glad you're liking it, Synapse. Can you do a review of the Foxeer Caesar? Maybe. What is it? Oh, a racing frame. Ah, interesting. Okay, I'll do a little review of the Foxeer Caesar. At a price of $50, you have my attention. We'll start there. I'm annoyed that I can't click an image on your website to make it larger or zoom in on it or anything. And I am annoyed that you block my right click. The Foxeer Caesar is a terrible frame that no one should buy. The only reason I'm saying that is that they block right clicks on their website. So I cannot do open image in new tab. Oh, it worked that time. It was blocked. Okay, I take it back. My right click enable plugin kicked in. Okay, let's have a closer look at it. Looks mighty similar to a switchback. Don't they all? What's interesting about it? I mean, that's a compliment, right? Let's see here. Interesting how it goes together. It's just a 2-hole here. It doesn't. I'm a little surprised it doesn't jam the arms together in the center. Am I? Huh. Are the... Huh. Mike Bergman thinks they built it with the arms upside down. It's a little silly. I agree with Ciotti. It's silly that they didn't route this hole all the way through. I think they're going for strength, I suppose. But if the motor shaft sticks down too far, it'll just grind. That's kind of annoying. You kind of don't know how that's going to be. I understand that the arms are pressed together by that plate, but I think they're... do we have a screw? I can't tell. Yeah. A lot of frame designers would put like a central rib here to sort of squeeze the arms even tighter. 3 motor screw holes quad dock is pretty standard these days. You know, you're saving that weight. Are you sure the arms are upside down? Are you sure they're not just symmetrical? Are they supposed to be flat on the bottom? I can't tell. I mean, the arms may just be routed out on both sides. I can't tell if they're upside down. Yeah. It doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look terrible. So let's compare it to the Switchback. This is the Switchback Classic. Let me get the Switchback Pro. How can we compare it to the Switchback? Switchback Pro is going to have X geometry, whereas this has more stretched X geometry. I guess the Switchback Pro also has stretched X geometry, but with the Switchback, the arms come together in the center, whereas on this one, they don't. Is that it? Is that all I'm going to be able to see? Can we see a little bit more detail about how it goes together? Yeah, there we go. Come on. Oh, look. Oh, yeah, baby. So the Switchback, yeah, it's still sandwiches. Similar. I like that on the Switchback, the arms come together in the center and meet at the center. I think that's going to give you better sort of stiffness and stability than a design like this, where the arms come here but don't meet front to back. I think that's a better design. There's not a lot to say other than that, because there's just not a lot to the frame. Yeah. Anyway. There you go. Some thoughts. Tim Barth is steering us towards this. Oh. Speaking of battery deals, unavailable. Never mind. Sad not in stock. 3-pack CNHL 1500 milliamp hour 6S for $80. That is a now, is that a 6S? Yeah. 80 divided by 3 is $26. But to me, a 1500 6S is too heavy for a 5-inch. What's the weight? I mean, it's got to be too heavy. 200. Oh God, 266 grams. No, see, that's not for a 5-inch. That's for like a 6-inch or a 7-inch. Ace of Spades says, I was planning on getting the TX16S in 4-in-1. I guess it would be easier to just add the 900 megahertz module and keep the ability to fly my fixed wings. Yeah, if you have a bunch of fixed wings with FrSky receivers and stuff, then the 4-in-1 module does make a lot of sense. I still think 900 megahertz Express LRS is very specialized, and that most people would be better off with 2.4. Demon Optical wants us to take a look at this video where the throttle gets stuck at full in the flight. Here we go. Do we have desktop audio as well? Mm-hmm. The hell? Let's see how he gets out of this one. Disarm. Good. That was a good save. Okay, so Demon Optical, good save. That still doesn't excuse using stabilization for a freestyle flight. I saw what that camera did after you landed. Let's look at that again. Ah, full throttle. He gets it back together. Controls altitude with pitch and roll. And disarms. That was a good save. Honestly, that was a good save. There's that stabilization kicking in. Good save. Really good save. So what could cause that? The number one thing I would lean towards would be that your throttle gimbal got stuck or messed up. So this is the reason why I always try to have throttle on my OSD. Now, if you're using DJI, that's not an option. So, I would lean towards a bad gimbal, because that was not a situation where, like, your PID controller got into a feedback loop. You ever had a situation where you punch the throttle, and when you lower the throttle, the quad doesn't want to come back down? And so the motors go, whoosh, and then you lower the throttle, and they kind of go, whoosh, 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 right? They don't want to come back down. That's not what that was. That was just full throttle and stay there. So to me, that feels like a gimbal problem. That's how I interpret that. There's not much else that would cause what happened there. Thank God your disarm switch worked. Yikes. Yikes. So black box would show you full throttle. If you have analog, then you could put throttle, or if you have Sharkbite HD0 or the Avatar system, anything that supports the actual Betaflight OSD, you could put throttle in the OSD and you could see what happened. That would be a dead giveaway. But I would be very suspicious of that gimbal. Pacific Northwest wants to know what handset you've got, Brandon. What handset have you got, man? Let's find out what the controller is. Is it a Mambo or a Tango? They sometimes have gimbal issues. Corey Keene. Let's take Corey's question here. Corey Keene. Corey Keene says, I've watched 387 of your videos, but as a noob, I'm still failing to understand how to properly match a flight controller and an ESC. Do they all work together? So, Corey, the simplest thing to do is for you to buy a flight controller and ESC together as a stack. Okay? That will ensure that they are made to work together and avoid any weird little issues that could cause you to not work. Any ESC can be made to work with any flight controller. But how many hoops do you have to jump through? That's the question. So the most common thing you have to do if you buy mismatched ESC and flight controller is that the plug that goes from the flight controller to the 4-in-1 ESC is not pinned out the same. And you have to literally rearrange the wires in the plug that goes between them to make them work together. It's not the end of the world, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. Knowing where to put the wires also requires a little bit of thinking, but in general, there's a VBAT wire, there's a ground wire, there's a motor 1, 2, 3, 4 wire, and there are a couple other wires, but usually those wires are matched between the flight controller and the ESC. It's just they're in a different order on the ESC than the flight controller, and so you have to rearrange the wires so they go where they're supposed to go. There are a few things that can make an ESC just not be compatible. These are rare, but I'm going to list them off for you so you have some idea of what I'm talking about. Most flight controllers today expect to get battery voltage from the ESC, and the flight controller has a built-in regulator, a voltage regulator that it uses to step that battery voltage down to 5 volts and 3.3 volts, which is typically what the flight controller wants. Well, typically always what the flight controller wants internally. There are a few flight controllers out there, like some Hobbywing flight controllers, expect the 5-volt regulator to be on the ESC. Why did Hobbywing do this? I have no idea. They put the 5-volt regulator on the ESC, and then the flight controller has a 5-volt input from the ESC, and the flight controller doesn't have a 5-volt regulator on board. If you try and pair a Hobbywing flight controller with a non-Hobbywing ESC, that ESC is not going to have a 5-volt regulator on board, and the Hobbywing ESC simply can't work. Unless you have an external 5-volt regulator that you wire in, don't do that. So there are a few rare cases where an ESC and a flight controller simply won't work together, but for the most part, they'll work together. Pretty much whatever. But the best thing to do is to buy the same thing, the stack, the flight controller and ESC, from the same manufacturer, so you can be confident they'll just plug in and you don't have to mess around. Okay. Danny Fowler, thank you for a $5 super chat. I've got a Walkera F210 coming in. It's a bit old, but I love the older drones. And then it's a comma, and the question ends. So it seems like Danny had more to his question, but then it got cut off, and now I don't know what he was going to ask. It's time. Is that since we mentioned a Walkera? Yes, yes, I found it. It's time to watch this again since he mentioned a Walkera. Is this the one? I'm not sure this is the one I'm thinking of, but we're going to find out. Yes, it is! Yes, it is! Oh, Walkera! Yeah! Yes! 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 Oh, yeah! Oh! Yes! Footage from the Blue Angels used with permission. Definitely with permission. Yes! 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 Hey guys, look how crappy that quad's flying. Look how, did you see how it definitely just crashed? Yeah, woohoo!
Don't bother me. Now come on.
Now come on! Hey, don't bother me! Yes! I have to download this somehow. I have to download it. Every, like, once a year I want to watch this again. And I can never find it. We need you to audition for this commercial. Well, what do you want me to say? Mostly, yes! 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 I want to be in the pitch meeting for this commercial too, because they're like, hang on, oh yeah, here we are. They're like, what can we want people to want this quadcopter. Okay, we need to associate the quadcopter with something people want. Well, most of our audience is male, and most of them are probably straight and would like, you know, like a hot woman. Okay, we got to get a hot woman in this commercial. Now, how can we, like, draw parallels between the hot woman and the quadcopter? Because we want them to buy the quadcopter. I got it. I got it, you guys. Listen. I've been to film school. What if we put a split screen with the quadcopter on one side and her on the other? What if she was like holding the quadcopter or standing next? No. She could like cradle it, maybe? She could hold it up? No! We're going with a split screen! I've been to film school. I know how to make associations between things. Yes! 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 Hey, Tyler Brennan! Tyler Brennan, where are you? He's with the Air Force, not the Navy. You think you're a fighter pilot? Yes! What is she holding in her hands? What is she holding in her hands right here? What is that? What is that? What is it? They put so much work into this. Look, he's wearing the helmet and the goggles in this fantasy sequence. What is this in her hands? She's like bending it. Oh, yes. Oh. Look at this controller. Jeez. I haven't seen that in forever. And then the quad flying so good. Watch how good it flies. Yes! Yes! Oh, yes, it did a roll! Look, it's hovering! Yes! I love how it... Where is it? It definitely crashes in one of these sequences. Yeah, right here, right here. Right there. It definitely crashed. Do you see that it definitely crashed? Whoa! Oh, okay, got that one. No, maybe it didn't. Maybe it went under. Maybe it went under. Alrighty. Study that. There's a lot to learn from that. June 10th, 2015. That's what we had, kids. That's what we were flying back then. That's what we were flying. Walkera Runner 250. Well, actually, we had better quads than that. That was not a good quad back in the day. Okay. Thank you for that. I don't know what your question, Danny Fowler, was about the Walkera F210. But thank you for giving me the excuse to show that commercial again for the people who hadn't seen it. Oh, Ho Operator, why? You know I don't like doing that. Ho Operator, you know I don't. We've been through this so many. Thank you for coming back. Haven't been here in a while. You know I don't want political stuff on my stream. So thank you for $5. I'm not going to read it, and I don't like that you did that. So, all right, good. We got that straight. Jeremy Pearsonia, thank you for a $2 super chat. Can I simply swap an analog VTX with a Vista? I mean, I would remove the analog VTX and solder up the Vista as it needs to be. I wouldn't assume that the same wires would work. They have different wires and different needs. Mayan Hawk, thank you for a $5 super chat. Have you tried electronic goop putty from Mass Adhesive that Ciati's been using? I have not tried it, but I do have it. Where is it? Where is it? I know it's here. Somewhere. Ah, there it is. There it is. So, this stuff is similar to Blue Tack that I use for holding stuff down when I solder. It's called Electric Goop. It is a... I kind of don't want to mess up the imprint, but what are you going to do? It is a... kind of a putty. And you kind of pull some out and you use it. The thing that makes this different than Blue Tack is it is extremely heat resistant. So you can use it to mask off parts if you're doing hot air rework, or if you're soldering, it will just not get all melty. Where do you get it? The company is massadhesive.com. I guess I could show it on the dang stream. Hang on. Excuse me. Massadhesive.com is the company. It's a little stickier than Blu Tack is. I can kind of feel it leaving residue on my fingers. Whereas Blu Tack doesn't really leave any residue at all. In my impression. I can feel that it's leaving a little residue. So it can take heat and doesn't get all melty like Blu Tack does. And so I haven't tried it out yet, but they did send me some. It's a little, I don't like that it left stuff on my hands, but there you go. Ciati says it holds wires beautifully for tinning. Yeah. Okay. Oh, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Banggood president / casting manager. I love when people make fake accounts. I love when people make fake accounts and get in on the joke. I think it's hilarious. One of my favorite things in the world. This is completely unrelated. One of my favorite. Do you want to make me chuckle? One of my favorite things in the world. Nope. This over here. My son played Fallout New Vegas and got on a kick listening to this song. I'm not going to play this song because I'll get copyright claimed. But this song is in the playlist. It's an old cowboy song from, I guess, probably the 60s. I don't know when it came out. And we were listening to this, and I went down to the comments. I'm gonna crack myself up. In the comments, there are all these fake accounts making jokes. Here's the little iron. There's a big iron in the song. I'm so proud of you, big bro. Someday I'm going to be like you. Here's the big iron on the Arizona Ranger hip. I'm the big iron he's talking about. I feel so honored. Here's the Arizona Ranger's boot. Just so many. Here's an NCR trooper delivering a line from New Vegas. Here's a big iron with an Arizona Ranger on his hip. Here's the Arizona Ranger's left hand. Oh, so many fake accounts making jokes. It kills me. Anyway. Here's the Arizona Ranger's hip. Here's Texas. So if you're gonna make a fake account and it's funny, I support you 100%. If you're gonna make a fake account in my comments and it's funny, I support you 100%. Okay, all right. So funny, so funny. So funny. All right. Oh, ho operator, don't be like that, man. Just leave. Just leave if you don't like it, man. I just don't have the patience right now. I'm hypocritical. I'm doing a bit. I'm doing a segment. I didn't even see the chat, ho operator. You can't like be like, oh, you're a hypocrite because you didn't block this one comment. I don't see every comment. You paid $5 so that I would see your political comment. Obviously, I saw your comment. Why would I have seen your comment and not someone else's comment? And then you accuse me of being a hypocrite because I deleted your political comment, but I didn't delete someone else's. You paid for me to see the comment, oh operator. He didn't, and I didn't see it, and that's why I didn't delete it. Get out of here. Get out of here. Jesus. Okay. Swift69, thank you for a $5 super chat. Test flew my 5-inch for the first time. When I pitch or roll, I get like a pinging noise. It's more pronounced in angle mode than air mode. Swifts, I'm really sorry. Oh, hang on. I gotta go back to Facecam. Swifts, I'm really sorry, man. But I would really love to hear the pinging noise, and I don't think I'm gonna. So I would suggest that you email me, and send me a video or audio recording of the pinging noise, and I'll be glad to help you. But without hearing the noise, I think, it's gonna be tricky. Archimedes, agree with you. Fallout New Vegas, best modern Fallout game. Fallout 4 is pretty solid. I mean, it's its own thing, and it's good in its own way. New Vegas, solid game though. Oh, thank you, Corey Keene, for a $50 super chat. Wow. Wow. That's astounding. Thank you. It's incredibly generous. I just want to say thank you for all your hard work. It's especially helpful for the entry-level folks. Your dedication to the hobby and your followers is unmatched. That's very kind of you to say, Corey. I really appreciate it. You know, that makes me think. I got a treat for you guys. This video will come out on my channel tomorrow, but I'll give you a little teaser. Give you a little teaser. Oh, nope, go over here. Hang on, go over to that. There you go. And let's see, this is coming out tomorrow on my channel, but, let's see, we want to hear the desktop audio this time. And put your battery charger in it and charge out on the patio. In other words, the safest place to charge your battery is somewhere where there's nothing flammable nearby to catch on fire when the battery lets the flame out. And that's why I've chosen this large concrete pad as the location for my next experiment. I'm going to intentionally overcharge and light off a battery so that you can see just how much freaking fire comes out, and we're going to look for the telltale signs that the battery is about to blow up so you can see it coming if you run into this situation when you're charging at home. So we're currently at 4.6 volts per cell, and maybe one of the things we can take from this is a little bit of encouragement that when the pack is healthy and the cells are healthy, they are incredibly resilient and incredibly resistant to abuse. Now that is not an invitation to just forget about safety, but like at this moment, it is way outside its normal safety margins, and yet it is not hot, it is not puffy, there is no external sign that anything is wrong. 20 volts, really astounding. It's a little puffy at this point. So at this point, we're at 20 volts, or 5 volts per cell, and it is starting to puff just a little bit. I can definitely hear it crackling now. The camera's picking this up. This is a sure sign that bad things are happening. If you hear this when you're charging, get the battery off the charger and get it outside as soon as possible. Oh, it's gonna go. It's gonna go. There it goes. I hear the hiss. I hear the hissing. This is the end. It's puffed. It's oh. I smell it. I can smell the fruity smell. The end isn't there. Oh, there's the psst. There it goes. Woo, baby. Yeah, so that's coming. Always a good day when you pop off a battery and make the fire come out. Isn't that fun? The charger got a little singed, but it seems okay. Yeah, sleep. I wouldn't avoid the payoff there. Sleep and sieve. Yeah, someone noticed I didn't have the balance lead connected. That's because I told it was charging a 5S and it was actually charging a 4S. So if you ever want to pop a battery off, take a fully charged 4S, tell the charger it's a 5S, and then it's going to go. But the camera, I was worried about the camera. It got a little fire in the lens, but it seems okay. Yeah, so I got a video coming out tomorrow about LiPo safety and safe charging. And I thought, if you make a video about LiPo safety and safe charging and you don't pop off a battery, like, come on. Come on. You gotta do it. Right? Why does it spray out like that at first, says Caveman? Well, it builds up a pressure of gas. And then eventually a hole breaks through and the gas shoots out. Siadi says, Siadi, did you say that happened to you during a stream? Yikes. Will this hurt the charger? The charger is fine, Boom FPV. I mean, I could have used longer wires. And if I had used longer wires, then it might not have gotten singed, but it's okay. I was shocked, though. It got up to 4.5 volts. And had absolutely no sign of anything. No puffing, no nothing. And it got up to 5.0 volts before it definitely was catastrophically failing. It's kind of shocking that it got that high. Now, that doesn't mean that it's safe to charge batteries to 4.5. Like, I know way back when, Vanover was charging at a race and lit a battery on fire, and he said he had been charging to 4.5 all day, which this was years ago, so don't give him shit about it today. I mean, I don't know, give him shit about it. What the hell? But I think he knows better now. But, you know, 4.5 is still pretty freaking dangerous, but I got to 4.5. That was like a brand new battery. It was just kind of an oddball battery that I didn't think I was going to use very often, so I thought, okay, I'll fire it off. Yeah. So, that's fun. That's fun. Paul McDonald wants to know if I would do a follow-up with various kinds of prevention measures. Maybe. The thing is, Paul, that might actually be a successful video, and so as a content creator, like if I had a marketing team, they would tell me I should make that video. But the thing is, like, Batbox has videos on their website of fires of batteries popping off inside a Batbox. So that's kind of established what happens there. It's not really new, interesting research to demonstrate how a Batbox works. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know. Ma RC says I have a 4S with one cell at 0 volts. What's the best thing to do? Discard it. Discharge it and discard it. It's done. Thank you, Christopher Lovell, for 10 Australian dollars. Dollary dues, as I like to say. Joshua Bardwell's bald head has joined the chat. Oh, keep it funny and keep it tasteful, and I will 100% allow it. I will 100% allow it. Oh man. Oh man. Oh. Okay. Lipo bags aren't bad. Lipo bags help, but the thing is, those lipo bags, they usually, if you had 3 or 4 batteries in there, that's too many and they'll burn through. So lipo, the best is a box of some kind that can contain the flames. BatSafe is really the best. They help. Lipo bags do okay if you have like 1 pack in there. But what people often do with lipo bags is they just stuff them full of everything that'll fit in there. And I mean, I did this too. I don't think of lipo bags as fire protection, because like when I went to Rampage, I had a lipo bag and literally just packed the whole effing thing full of as many batteries as it would hold. It probably had 20 batteries in there, maybe more. And if one of those batteries had popped off, chances are good it would have lit the others, and they all would have gone up, and the bag it can't contain all that fire. So that's the mistake that people make with the lipo bags. If you have a single bag, maybe it will keep the fire in. I mean, Boom FPV is showing here. Boom FPV is showing this is 1 bag, had 1 cell pop off, and it blasted through. It probably resisted some of the fire that would have come out. I mean, anything you can do to contain the fire is good. Because with lipos, there's no stopping a lipo once it decides to go. You just have to prevent secondary fires. The best, I agree with this video. Thank you to Archimedes in the chat for suggesting it. Archimedes showing this video, which is Video Aerial Systems. That's Alex Greaves' company. Probably the best,
better known as,
is a metal box lined with fire-resistant plate. I think he's using like fire-retardant drywall. And what he's going to do, hang on, I'm going to skip all this stuff. But what he's going to do is he's got a metal toolbox. That's really clever, actually. A big metal toolbox, and he is putting in fire-retardant gypsum board. And then you can see he's got spacing here. This is really clever. Spacing here, spacing the gypsum board away from the walls of the toolbox a little bit. Well, he hasn't done that on the front. That's interesting. Oh, is he about to put a spacer in? Maybe he is. So I think the thinking there is it'll keep the batteries away from the heat, away from the walls. And then, all right, there we go. We're putting some compartments in, I guess. So here, I guess we're going to do a little... Oh, don't do that, Alex. Oh, no, 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 no. Never, never use gasoline to start a fire. Never. It's so dangerous. Use kerosene, use diesel. Never use gasoline to start a fire, you guys. Publix, pause the video. Since we're talking about fire safety here, let's finish the video. He lights a fire, the gypsum board. We show that it's fire resistant. Fire resistant, I guess, not fire retardant. Does he light a battery off? I don't think he does. That's pretty clever. That's pretty smart. I don't know if you're going to come in cheaper than buying like a bat safe, but it sure is bigger. Never start a fire with gasoline. Anyone who works in any EMT, paramedic, or firefighter will tell you, do not do that. Carbon Cage says standard practice in Australia. It's standard practice a lot of places, but and I know I'm going to sound like I don't know. I'm going to sound, come on, Bard. Well, all the cool kids are blowing themselves up with gasoline, loser. The problem is that gasoline off-gases or vaporizes. Gasoline vaporizes very aggressively, and the fumes will ignite. Diesel doesn't really vaporize, doesn't create fumes that'll ignite. So what you'll see people do is they'll just glug, 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 glug a bunch of gasoline on their brush pile, and then they'll go get the lighter, and they'll come back and they'll light the brush pile, and all of a sudden this humongous field of gasoline vapors that they have been standing in without knowing it will ignite, and they'll just be standing in a sea of flame. The other thing I've seen happen is if you pour gasoline onto an existing fire, the fire will 100% chase the gasoline up into the gas can. There are probably safer ways to do this and dumber ways to do this, but the best thing is to not use gasoline and to use a proper fuel. So that's my little PSA for the day. Mo says, well, maybe that wasn't gasoline. Maybe that was just a gas container. If you put anything other than gasoline in a red container marked gasoline, you're going to get, that's a mistake. Don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah. I say this, by the way, I say this as someone who has been a board member and safety team lead for Burning Man regional events. I am no stranger to lighting things on fire. But we tried to do it in ways that, I was about to say we tried to do it in ways that didn't cause explosions. We tried to do it in ways that caused explosions that were where we wanted them to be and didn't kill people. Can I show you something? We're going a little off script today. The regional burn that I worked for and helped organize was Alchemy. And I think this was our, I don't remember which year it was. This was our effigy burn. I was the safety team lead for this. Let's see if this is actually a good video. This is kind of crappy. How about this video? Okay, this is going to be a good one. Can we get sound? Okay. Oh, yeah. So, I'm no stranger to making things go boom, but I still don't think you should start a fire with gasoline. Now, those, in fact, were gasoline. That year we hired a pyrotechnics team, and we said, we want you to make explosions that knock people on their ass. Those were gasoline mortars. So the way that, I shouldn't tell you guys this. If you kill yourself doing this, it's not my fault. You get a big metal tube about 6 inches in diameter and about 4 feet tall, if my memory's right. And it's welded to a big metal plate so it can't fall over once you done set it up. and staked to the ground, like with rebar. And then what they do is they put a black powder charge in the bottom of the tube with a fuse. And they put a plug of wadding, and then they put a bunch of gasoline in the top. And then when they light that black powder charge, it throws the gasoline up in the air and ignites it and makes a freaking explosion mushroom cloud like you never saw. So that technically was gasoline. Okay. Good times, good times. That was the best year. That was the best year. That was the best effigy burn. It was all downhill from there. In some ways. Okay. Let's get back to the FPV questions. Christopher Lovell, thank you for $5 Australian. So your kit is an all-in-one full build. My kit, so not quite, Christopher. So there are things it doesn't come with. Like, for example, it doesn't come with a receiver, and it doesn't come with a controller. And I don't think it comes with a battery. You need to get a battery. There is a list. I'm not showing you the right screen. Sorry. It doesn't come with a receiver. It doesn't come with a controller. You will need the following in addition to this kit if you don't already have them. So these are the things it doesn't come with. But it comes with almost everything needed to build the quadcopter except for the receiver. Okay. Can I pair any kind of goggle to it? If you build the analog version, so there's an analog and a DJI version. If you build the analog version, just about any analog FPV goggle will work. The DJI version only works with DJI goggles. Alan Lay, thank you for a $5 super chat. I'm using a FetTech ESC on a Betaflight flight controller. Ooh. I did the Betaflight pass-through and ESCR running, but when I arm, the quad idles really rough. Is there something I'm missing? I mean, maybe. FetTech ESC really wants to be paired with a FetTech flight controller. So, like, are you using DShot 600? That would be where I would start. After that, maybe it's just your quad idles real rough. Rob Axelson, I talked about flow state. Rob Axelson wants some flow state news. Rob, I talked about flow state earlier in the stream. There is good news. I'm not going to repeat it, though, because people who are watching the stream may already have heard it. However, if you want to head on over to the Joshua Bardwell Livestream Clips channel, you can sign up and eventually that clip will appear on the Livestream Clips channel and you can find it there. So for those who can't watch the entire live stream, which is better, pancakes or waffles? That's a good thumbnail, Blunty. You really outdid yourself there, man. For those who can't watch the whole live stream, can I suggest you get subscribed to the Joshua Bardwell Livestream Clips channel? And you could catch up on the things you missed from the live stream. Or rewind the stream. The thing is, I don't remember where in the stream it was. So if you rewind, you could just go back and watch the whole stream, I guess. But if you want to just get a little clip, that's how to do it. The Zipperlips FPV, thank you for a $5 super chat. What's the best link monitoring method for forced 150 hertz crossfire? What is link monitoring, Zipperlips? What's link monitoring? I'm sorry to say, Zipperlips, I don't understand what that is. Christopher Lovell, thanks for another $10 super chat. No question, just a $10 super chat. Okay. Torpedo Law wants to know, can you make an episode of you flying a real quad model with 7-foot blades, please? No, because that would be a full-scale aircraft. But I do... Yeah, think this through with me, chat. Do you know about the kind of drone that some people are building where you have a gasoline engine that charges a battery and then the motors run off the battery, but the gasoline engine charges the battery and it can run for a long time. You familiar with this? What if you tried to build one of those using off-the-shelf parts? So, for example, what if you picked up... Is this even doable? I've given away this idea for a video, but if somebody like Peter Schrippel pulls it off, I won't actually be that mad, to be honest with you. So, what's the smallest generator they've got? Can we filter? Under 3,000 watts. 2,000 watt, 2,000, 1,400. What about that little 800 watt special? What about that? Oh, here we go. We got an 800 watt, 1,000 gas powered generator, $189. Patrick Rain, if we convert an RC aircraft engine, then we're going to need to build a generator around the engine. This has already got the generator working. 44 pounds. Sheesh. 44 pounds. Well, that's a non-starter because we're going to be above the 55-pound weight limit and the FAA is going to get involved. Damn it. It feels like it has to be doable under 55 pounds, but not if the generator is going to weigh 44 pounds. Yeah, wouldn't we need to build an alternator? We'd need to build an alternator. Right? That's why I want you to workshop this with me. Wouldn't it be a great video if you could buy off-the-shelf parts and build one of those? What's the lightest gas generator? Nah, they're all going to be 40 pounds. Gas RC car motor to run an alternator. Yeah, exactly. 23 pounds. This one's 23 pounds. What do we got? 700 watt, 40 cc, gas powered, 20 pounds. 20 pounds. Oh, now we're getting somewhere. Yes! Okay, okay. So we're going to start here. We're going to start... Oh, I closed it by accident. We're going to start here. This thing is 800 watts and 20 pounds. A gallon of gas weighs... Gallon of gas weighs 6 pounds. All right. Significantly less dense than water. Wow. Okay, so we got a generator. It's going to... Can you... Now, here's the other thing. Can you fly this thing off 800 watts? Feels like you can. Right? Feels like you can. I think 800 watts is going to be enough. You're going to need to... You're going to end up like 40 pounds. But maybe somebody with some electrical... The other thing is that, you know, Electric Mountain Board says, get a diode rectifier, convert the three-phase to DC. You're going to need, like, you're going to need 500 watts, 600 watts, right? You're going to need a lot of wattage to fly this thing. Coal Power says, why are we trying to build a hybrid gas-electric quadcopter? Coal Power is the reason real people do this with real quadcopters is that with hybrid gas-electric... With a gasoline motor is no good for direct driving multi-rotor motors because they don't have a collective, so they can't. A multi-rotor motor is fixed pitch, so in order to change thrust, it has to change speed, and it needs to do that very quickly. So gasoline direct drive multi-rotors fly like crap. So what you do is you have a gasoline generator powering a battery, which powers electric motors. The reason you have gasoline is that you can fly forever. You can fly for hours. Layman Board, you're right. We don't need a generator. We need DC. That's true. We need something like a... I mean, I just thought it'd be fun to buy a generator. But you're right. We actually need DC. We'd have to rectify that anyway. Can a battery tolerate charging and discharging continuously? Sure. I mean, the battery is just going to be sitting in the middle. If the generator is generating 800 watts and the quadcopter is pulling 800 watts, then it'll just take power from, yeah, the battery will just be sitting there. Anyway, this is where my mind was going today. Can you build a hybrid gas-electric multi-rotor using off-the-shelf components? I wonder. Anyway. It sounds like an interesting problem to try to solve. Zipperlips FPV, thank you for a $2 super chat. RSI LQ or ROIC. What's the best link monitoring method? I got you now, Zipperlips. I use LQ. If I only have the choice of one, I just use LQ. Gregory FPV, great question. What does remote ID mean for FPV in its current state? How do people need to update their quad by the deadline? So right now, in the September time frame, the first deadline for remote ID will kick in, and manufacturers will have to start complying with the requirements. I don't think anybody knows exactly how they will do that or what that will mean. Consumers have another year, September 2023, until they're expected to comply. And that's where we're at. Zipperlips, yes. LQ, even with Force 150. If I have to choose between RSSI and LQ, in my opinion, LQ is the one that is more likely to tell me when I'm about to failsafe. And the combined RSSI/LQ, I kind of don't like not knowing which one I'm seeing. So I just want to know. I think LQ is where to be. You need a 1,000-watt alternator. Well, what do they weigh? 1,000-watt, 500 RPM gearless permanent magnet alternator. Okay, so it's $600. That's not going to work for me. This video is not worth the $600 expense. Weight 18 kilograms. That's also not going to work. So I think the first thing that you got to do is you got to figure out how many watts you need to fly this damn thing. How heavy is it going to be and how many watts do you need to fly it? Because I'll bet 1,000 watts is overkill. But clearly we're not going to be carrying a 1,000-watt alternator. So. Aerobrat points out we're still waiting for the remote ID ruling from the federal court in the Race Day Quads lawsuit. So, remains to be seen. Aerospace, a quadcopter motor would generate AC if you used it as an alternator. An alternator generates DC, doesn't it? I guess an alternator usually has a built-in rectifier. An alternator generates DC, though. Pretty sure. I guess if you're using an alternator, you would be generating 12 to 13.5 volts, so you'd probably be running on 3S if you really wanted it to work the best. Great Southern FPV NRC wants to know, has anybody done a video on Betaflight pass-through on DJI? That question doesn't make sense to me, Great Southern. Betaflight pass-through is for ESCs. DJI is not involved in ESCs, so I don't understand. Doesn't a stepper motor push out DC? I'm not sure about that. Ooh, we could get a truck alternator to generate 24 volts and then run it on 6S. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Floppy Prop says, what does it mean that manufacturers need to comply? I thought they didn't have to if the consumer put a remote ID tag on the quad. Floppy Props, it's been so long since I covered remote ID, I honestly don't remember what the manufacturer requirements are. But there are some requirements for that manufacturers. Some manufacturers have to sell their drones with remote ID already on them. There's other record-keeping requirements that some manufacturers will have to comply with. I don't remember the exact details, but the September 2022 timeline deadline is when manufacturers whatever remote ID requires manufacturers to do, they have to start doing it. The grace period is over. Wesley, I agree that the 55-pound weight limit is going to be tricky, but it seems like it ought to be doable. I mean, here's the thing, Wesley. If you couldn't do it, I mean, if it can't do it with off-the-shelf components, I don't think it's interesting. Because then you're just building a gas hybrid drone, which could be an interesting video. But buying the components off the shelf, that's more interesting and exciting. You know? In terms of a video that's going to get views. I don't know, who knows if it'll get views. 55 pounds would be the weight limit, though. That's correct. Revo FPV, thanks for a $5 super chat. I'm getting yaw jump at the beginning and end of a yaw spin with only like 1/4 to 1/2 stick deflection. How can I reduce this? Revo, we need way more details about your setup. What is your yaw rate is the first thing we have to ask. And then what motor and prop are you using? Those are the first questions if you're having problems with yaw jump. Jimmy Nature wants to know, how can I adjust the PWM frequency of my BL Heli SESC? Jimmy, you have to flash the BlueJay firmware, and in the BlueJay configurator, it will allow you to do that. Wesley, I'm not sure where to start with this project. Do you start with a 55-pound weight limit and then try to design motors around that? Or do you start with the assumption that you're going to be able to do it lighter? I mean, I think, yeah. And then the other thing is, what is off the shelf if we're talking about... So if we're talking about a gasoline generator that puts out AC, then what? Do we feed that AC into a DC power supply? And then do we feed that into a charger? That's, I don't know. I'm going to talk myself out of the idea now. I just had this vision of building a quadcopter around a Harbor Freight generator. That was the idea for the video. That's the whole idea for the video. Honestly. Can you use a Harbor Freight generator to power a quadcopter? That's what I want. Get to it. Knowing that the generator alone is going to be 26 pounds. Let's say 25, 26 pounds. For the generator alone, that's, I mean, at that point, you're going to have another 25 pounds in motors and you're going to be out of weight. I don't think you could do it. If the generator weighs 25 pounds, I don't think you can do it under 55 pounds. That's my opinion. At this point, but who knows? Alrighty. We're coming to the end of the stream. It's about 10 till. I think I got to call Peter Stripple and see if he wants to be a part of this. Do I have contact with Peter Stripple? Let's find out if I've ever talked to Peter Schiphol. How do you spell his name? S-C-H-R-I-P-H-O-L? Peter Schiphol. Is it Schiphol? Oh my God. Or is that a different Peter? No, Peter Schiphol. Schiphol. That's it. I got it. Okay. Schiphol. I don't appear to have any Facebook connection to Peter Schiphol. Well, I'm sure I can get a hold of him. Alrighty. We're about 10 minutes from the end of the stream. Aaron Ciotti is going to be streaming at 10 o'clock after I go off the air, and he's going to start posting a link to his stream if you guys want to watch that when I get off the air. But we got about 10 more minutes. Matt Shonen, thank you for 1,000 yen. Thank you for your mail support with my JBF7, which was having trouble installing Betaflight 4.3. I realized that it also doesn't power up on USB, just battery. It does sound like it's damaged. Yeah, Matt Shonen, if it doesn't power up on USB, then that does suggest that it's damaged. You should definitely contact Race Quads about that and tell them what happened, and hope they will take care of you. Hobbit, I see your question in the Discord. I got a Mark V and forgot where to place the hard plastic washers on the stack. Where do they go? Well, I'll take a look at my Mark V and see if I can help you. Get off of there. Rubber band. The stack. Hang on. I'm going to poke myself in the eye. The stack appears to have... My stack has gummies all the way up. There are no hard plastic washers on my Skep RC Mark V. On mine, both the ESC and the flight controller have a gummy with extended height, so it spaces it up. So I don't have any hard plastic washers. So I'm afraid I can't help you. Maybe that does help. I'm not sure I'd want to go past the 55-pound limit, Mupshot. That's starting to get into crazy territory. Excuse me. Let's see here. We got about 8 more minutes on the stream. Let's see what other questions come in before we wrap up. No? No questions? We should just play Raid Shadow Legends for the rest of the stream? People talking about DJI firmware problems. The weight on Lexi's Airspeeder, if I remember right, it was around 300 pounds. But you could go back and check that interview if you want to be sure. I know I asked her that. Is 65 or 75 millimeter what better for a beginner? Mario Samir wants to know. Mario, I don't think there's a clear answer there. If you're flying outside, 75 millimeter can be better because it's got a little more power, but neither of them are very good in the outdoors with wind. I don't think a beginner should start flying. I have made the argument in the past that a tiny whoop is not the best place for a beginner to start, because a 65 millimeter tiny whoop and even a 75 millimeter is difficult to fly indoors because you crash a lot, because there's just so much stuff to crash into. And outdoors, if there's wind and stuff, it makes it hard to fly. So if you're going to take your 65 millimeter or 75 millimeter tiny whoop micro drone, whatever you want to call it, outdoors and fly it on a calm day, maybe that's an okay way to learn. But this idea that you're going to get a tiny whoop and start flying indoors, and I came to this opinion after trying to teach someone to fly. We did a Rotoride episode where we tried to teach someone to fly in under 24 hours. He had no flight experience. We started him in the sim. He did great. We gave him a tiny whoop, and he just take off, crash into the couch, take off, crash into the wall. Indoors, he could not fly the damn tiny whoop. And we were like, what should we do? And we took him to a golf course and gave him a 5-inch, and he was fine. He did great because he had more room. And the fact that the 5-inch was more powerful didn't really matter. And it made me think that tiny whoops are okay to learn to fly because they have low consequences when you crash. But the place to learn to fly a tiny whoop is in a big gymnasium where you have lots of room to fly around. If you're outdoors, you might get pushed around by the wind. You might lose it. You could learn to fly outdoors in a golf course, but if it's anywhere where it's windy, it's going to be a struggle. And if you're indoors in your house, learning to fly with a tiny whoop is much more difficult. Throttle management is also way more difficult on a tiny whoop. Between a 65 and a 75, I don't know if I have a strong opinion as to which is better for a beginner. 75 is going to be heavier and probably have easier throttle management, so I guess a 75. But that's not a strong opinion. Revo FPV asking about the yaw spin. It's a 2450 kV 2207 Zingy Pro, Betaflight rates 807, Ethics S5 prop. It's all fine. Revo FPV, there's nothing really radical about that. That's a pretty standard setup. It's weird that you get yaw jump at the beginning. Revo, that's the part that I don't understand. You get a strong yaw jump at the beginning and at the end? That's pretty strange. I guess motor accelerates on both ways, but most people wouldn't get yaw jump at the end of the yaw spin. I think Revo, we'd have to look at the black box to be sure, but I suppose I would raise the P gain on yaw. I guess. Let's see if that fixes it. Silly Billy FPV, thanks for a $5 super chat. Thanks for helping me with a problem. I sent it to you via email and you helped so fast. Oh, thank you, Silly Billy. I'm very glad I was able to help you quickly. Greg Gerber points out, tiny whoops and toothpicks are a good place to start for safety reasons. Better to learn proper arming procedure with low consequences. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah. Cloudy Ace, the QAVS horned arms are interchangeable with the regular arms. You do not have to change all of them. Rogue Pilot, you better email me about this one because we're 2 minutes from the end of the stream and it's going to require some back and forth. New Express LRS receiver updated, will not bind. I have updated the module. Help! Spencer, I don't think a yaw low pass would help with yaw jump. I don't. You could try raising feed forward on yaw. Perhaps that would help the motors get there sooner. Yeah. Alrighty, folks, we are going to wrap up the stream. Thank you so much for being here. We had a lot of fun on this stream. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. We're going to wrap up the stream, though. I will see you tomorrow for the FPV news with me and Blunty and more content throughout the week. Ciati is going to stream next, though, and he's going to post a link to his stream. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you there. I'll see you around.